You know what time it
Time to
is.
stand up and speak your mind. In this elitist jungle, keep the beats alive. Whether yoga or doja that keeps you high. Gotta stay up, cause on the street you die. Time to wake up and see the light. Stop counting sheep, seize your life. Free your eyes and see suns rise on the horizon. Where the street meets the sky. The master's ignorance feeds our master's greed.
Done did it again. Another 2-part series for you. I just wrapped up that one, and now we're going into this one. The music hit me. I was just mid-thought. I was keeping an eye on it, and the music hit me. And due to my new format that I'm doing, I'm having fun with, I'm going to stick to that time. And I usually keep my eye on it, but I was on one. So I was talking about helicopter parenting, lawnmower parenting, letting the children, and I was looking at what I was doing because I thought I was not lawn mowing. I thought I was not mowing the lawn for my daughter. Now, I can justify some lawn mowing, I suppose, because she is really young. But isn't that the thing? From the time before they're 4 years old, that's when we teach them the things. That's when they learn the important things. So at this point, when she's here, I'm not sure how her mother's doing. And her mother and I are working on our communication lately. It's touch and go, but there has been, some communication. And so I might reach out to her. I've really found some empathy for her recently that I hadn't before. And that's good for me to kind of curb some of my resentment. Now we're off on a tangent of talking about baby mama. Anyway, I would like to have a conversation with her about the lawnmower, which will be a difficult one, but I think an important one. And I think we might be able to get on the same page. And if I bring some of this information to her, I think we can. But anyway, back to observing myself and how I thought I was not mowing the lawn for my daughter, but yet I was. I mean, I certainly was giving her the lawnmower and letting her push. And I have been, I think what I've been teaching her is how to start the lawnmower and how to start to push it or attempt to do those things. But then I've been stepping in a little early before she's exhausted all of her potential, her possibilities, I've been stepping in a little bit early. And so I'm going to step back a little bit more and observe and watch her go through some more motions. I think that's really important. I know it's important. It's not a matter of thinking. I know it's important. I knew it in my gut that it was important prior to, but I have a bit more clarity on how to attempt to become better at it. So I'm going to work on that. I mean, that's a famous line from the Bible. I think that's a Bible quote. I'm a shitty Christian. Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. So we've done our children a disservice by not teaching them how to fish and doing all the fishing for them. A huge disservice. Huge. Yeah. So, making moves on that. Making moves on teaching our children how to fish. Teaching my child how to fish. And raising young, strong women. Raising a woman who understands and respects her place next to a man. And teaching her how to trust a man and love a man and what love from a man looks like. A good man, being a strong man, being a reasonable man, being a pragmatic man, teaching her reason and pragmatism and honesty and vulnerability and courage. I mean, the kid's already courageous. Fuck. Fearless, really. fearless, really. It's amazing to watch. And so I don't want to be mowing the lawn for her, if you know what I mean. That wasn't funny. I don't know why I laughed, because I'm a fucking idiot. Interesting, that was my thought process, and that's why I started the second half of this deal here, because I got interrupted by the music, but really only had a couple more minutes left to wrap up that thought. And finding another 30 minutes of conversation at this particular point. I mean, there's so much to talk about. I guess we talk about my racism experience. So when I was in 8th grade, I fell in love with hip-hop dance. And back then we called it housing. And this was before house music. It became EDM. We were housing to hip-hop music. And it was more like break dancing. It was kind of, it was like break dancing, pretty much, b-boy shit. And so I hung out with the black kids. I started dressing like the black kids and talking like the black kids. And people called me a wigger, W-I-G-G-E-R, the wigger, the white boy with the, N-words. Just kicked that camera, didn't I? And it was difficult for me fitting in. Very difficult for me. And I loved it. And then when I got to all 8th grade, and I found a little niche. I got some attention, and go white boy, go white boy, go white boy. I'm sure, Anyway, when I got to high school, I came to high school, 9th grade, 1992, somewhere around there, 91, 92. And immediately, high school was different. The kids in 8th grade, I think most of the kids in junior high accepted accepted it. And I found some popularity, if you will, a little bit. It was fun. And then in high school, I really experienced a different push. High school was way more segregated, if you will. And I got called a nigger lover, and I got pushed around. I got bullied when I was by myself and not with my crew of other black kids that were my crew. We had a dance crew. I got pushed around by some of the racist older white boys. And that was difficult for me because I had never learned how to, I was never taught how to be a warrior. I was never taught how to fight back. So I got pushed around. I got bullied a lot when I was younger. I was afraid. And I ended up leaving the black community and found some friends with some white boys and I got back on my skateboard and I made some friends with some white boys who loved hip hop music, but they were white boys. And that I kind of found my way to that, and that became my place, which is my place anyway. Skateboarding is my thing. I think that's when the birth of the real skateboarder was born in me. And that place now today is a place where there is where people are accepted for who and what they are. I could be a wigger if I wanted to be a wigger, and fucking skateboard, and everybody in the skateboarding community would accept me today. There was a time back in the day, I'm sure that was less. I mean, obviously, as we go through our growth in this country, which shows tremendous growth in that community, shows tremendous growth in our community as a nation, as a society, because I think that happens less today. From what I understand from watching my nephews grow up and the friends that they have, that's way less. When I was growing up, if I hanging out with all the black kids, I didn't have permission to use the nigga word with the A on the end. Nigga. I wasn't allowed to use that word. There were a couple of the homies, if it was with me and one or two of the other homies, they would, dude, you're cool. Don't worry about it. Say it. You know. And they enjoyed it, allowed me, liked when I said, you know what I mean? It was like a permission. I got permission, if you will. And I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, but nowadays, as far as I could tell with my nephews and stuff, it seems like they with their little crew, the white boys, the Asians, the blacks, the Mexicans, and their little group, they all say it to each other. And nobody has and they don't have a problem with it. So I feel like that sort of is a sign of the progress that we've made as far as inclusivity with each other. And they also don't care about gay people and stuff like that, which when I was younger, homophobia was certainly an issue. There was a kid that we grew up with who in high school was banging chicks or was having relationships with girls. We think he did. And then it turned out he was gay. I mean, and in my mind, I'm like, hell yeah. I personally don't care. But then again, I experienced some of that, right? I love black people. I love black culture. I experienced that racism, that hatred, that I don't want to call it hate because I don't think it's hate. Let's call it fear. I experienced some of that fear, and some of that fear turns into anger. Fear turns into, see, we call it hate now. Oh, it's black hate, Asian hate. It's not hate, it's fear. Okay? People are afraid of what they don't understand. People are afraid to get uncomfortable. People are afraid of whatever. Maybe they're pissed because some Asian cut them off. Ha! See, joke. That's a joke. I don't think it's hate, and for us to call it hate is dangerous. It's not hate. It's fear, and it's fear. It's fear. Fear-based. And I think a lot of people who practice this hate or this fear, really they're afraid of themselves. Really, that's what they don't like themselves, so they don't like anybody else. And they'll hide behind or find a group to hide behind. Same thing happens with that's the LGBTQ. They're afraid for some reason. Because they're all sensitive, right? And it's a younger generation of they didn't learn how to mow the lawn, and they're gay, and they're trans, and they're, difficult for sure. Difficult. They've never been in any other they've never had any other difficult situations placed before them. And so now someone's picking on them, roasting them, making fun of them, and they don't know what to do. So now they have to look to somebody else. They're having a temper tantrum, a panic attack, anxiety, right? And they can't go ask mommy to tell their boyfriend to leave for them because they're having a panic attack. So they have a panic attack in public. That's what you're seeing. That's what it is. And the trans people and the LGBTQA plus F minus, they look to each other and then they all have a big temper tantrum together. That's what's happening on college campuses, microaggressions and this and that. Words are violence. No, they're not. Violence is violence. And that's and again, it comes down to parenting. It comes down to parenting. Seriously. Teach your kid to mow the lawn. Teach your kid how to start the lawnmower. That lawnmower is really actually difficult to start. It's a challenge just to start the damn thing, let alone push it and make straight lines and all of the things that come along with that. You ever tried to start a pull start lawnmower? Have you? Go find one. See if you're an old man down the street. But that would force you to get up off the couch, go outside, walk down the street, have a fucking actual conversation with the person, your old man neighbor, who you're probably afraid of, probably give you an anxiety attack when the man's walking down the street. I mean, I've been doing this a lot lately when I go to Starbucks now. I just start talking to people on their phones. Hey, how you doing? Give them a little nudge. Hey, hi. How's it going? You know, let's have a conversation. How many, put your phone down. I'll get the whole, and I'm loud and obnoxious and, you know, mouth, Mouth is here to get his coffee. He's going to start talking smack to folks. Watch. Here he goes. I get people laughing and putting their phones down. Said something the other day. There was a girl there who wasn't on her phone, and I walked over to her and was like, hey, hi. I see you're not on your phone. And look around, and I could see the other people kind of start to smirk and, you know, have conversations with each other. See, when I was a kid, and I'm going to learn, I think I'm learning this right now. Nobody helped me in those situations with figuring out whether I needed to, you know, what I needed to do to face the racism. I just had to face it. I mean, I had my friends and groups of friends, but I just had to face it and deal with it and keep moving forward. And I'm still friends with some of those folks, you know, and I love hip hop today. I got the chance to be a rapper a few years ago and make a hip hop album, and you know, and I found skateboarding through that. That was my path. I found skateboarding through that. Helped me to find, you know, that adversity helped me to find my place, the place that I belonged. Live to skate, skate or die. A place that would end up being an inclusive place in the end. And I needed those experiences to learn today, to be the man that I am today. And also led me to join the Navy. Those experiences helped me in the Navy to be accepting of others, not to be a racist prick when I become an adult. Or you know, not to be a stereotypical, fear-based racist prick. So now today, what my fears aren't based on race. My fears aren't based on race. Now, am I stereotypical? Can I crack jokes? And that's another thing that bothers me, is that you can make fun of white people all day long, but as soon as white people want to make fun, which is racist, by the way, which would be racist by your definitions, but it's not okay for white people to make fun of any other race, go fuck yourselves. I'm going to make fun of everybody. I don't give a shit. I'll pick on you. I'll pick on you. I'll stereotype you, and I'll pick on you and roast you, and I do it from a place of love because I love you. Right? My mom and I had this conversation about roasting. You roast your friends. You talk shit to your friends. If somebody's always nice to you, not that they don't like you, but they're just putting on a show for you. When someone starts poking at you, picking on you, and that means they like you. Think about it. Think about it. We roast our friends. That's what we do. We have fun. We poke fun at each other. We poke fun. You know, my old boss, he's a Mexican dude, and he used to pick on me all the time. Off-road American. Because I like the fucking got a truck, it's lifted and tires, and I go off-roading. You know, he used to say NASCAR American. And then I think actually I made that up. I was like, I'm an off-road American. And he laughed. Oh, I like what you did there. Off-road American. It's white boy shit. It's okay. Pick on me. I don't give a fuck. Somebody get my panties in a bunch. You know? And I would pick on him about some Mexican shit. Hey, you got your fucking sombrero, homeboy? Let's go. You know? It's something. Some fucking racist fucking slur, stereotypical slur based on race, but he don't give a fuck. Why? Because he's not a pussy. He's not a fucking snowflake. He's not his panties in a bunch. Why? Because he was taught how to use the lawnmower. So he's not afraid of that. It doesn't bother him. We crack back and forth. And I love him, accept him. I'm glad he's here from Mexico City. I'm glad he's here in this country working hard, contributing to society, raising his daughter who was born here. Good for you. Welcome to America. Fucking welcome to America. I was going to say beaner, but I'm scared. Welcome to America, you fucking bean burrito motherfucker. He said in Mexico City they don't eat tacos, they eat burritos. Ha! Really? Yeah, he said if you go to Mexico City and ask for a taco, they're going to laugh at you. Nah, motherfucker, we make burritos. Roger that. See, now someone could take a clip from this and make some bullshit online and try to get me canceled. I'm like, fuck you. I know you've talked shit too. Just because you don't, you talk shit to people like me for talking shit, and then you point out, he's a bully. No, I'm not. You're just a pussy. Let me see if I keep an eye on this thing. 10 more minutes of yapping. Jeez Louise. Where are we at? 10 more minutes of yap, dap. I'm at 22 minutes. Yeah. Fucking craziness, man. So the red wave wasn't as much as red wave and thought, wasn't quite the tidal wave we thought it was going to be. And I'm really surprised. It was really interesting to me watching this whole Arizona election go down for governor, because it really felt exactly like the 2020 election and Donald Trump situation. It seriously did. It's like, I was like, oh shit. Oh shit. Voting centers and voting machine fucking malfunctions right off the bat, which I experienced personally when I went to vote. And then Carrie Lake coming out asking for court fucking extensions and going to the courts, and already, and then the news media's got their election denier charts on. Because that's what's important. The election deniers are what's important. As far as I'm concerned, it's like we could use a couple of skeptics. We could use a couple of... Those people have the right to fucking believe what they believe. And as a matter of fact, a couple of wackos in Congress that are, that's like AOC, right? She's a fucking woke whack. So why not have a couple of fucking election denier wackos in there? Balance. It's a balance, motherfucker. But, and then the votes, again, once the votes were in, now we got all these mail-in ballots, and we got the ballots that didn't go through the machines that need to be recounted. I think actually this morning, that was Thursday, and this morning is Saturday morning. So I think the results might actually be in. But I was like, dude, this is totally turning out to be like a Trump thing. And I could already see Carrie Lake is already fucking claiming cheating and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, what a great place to start a fire. If it's all a show, and if you want to go conspiracy nutcase with me for a moment, if it's all a big show, Arizona would be a good place to start a fire. Arizona is a battleground state, not just for red and blue, but in my mind, I see it as a battleground state because Arizona is one of the few places left, not few, but Arizona is one of those places where, I mean, we've got constitutional carry here, gun, you know what I mean? This is a frontier for our Second Amendment rights, some of those rights, because Arizona's the fucking Wild West here. We carry our fucking guns everywhere, which makes me feel safe. A lot of people, so chicken shit motherfuckers out there, pussies and pansies and Fruit Loops, Ooh, that was a cut. I almost said faggot, but then I decided, that's a harsh. See, I'm afraid to say that, even though I might be joking. And I have friends that are gay who, I could make jokes with. I would hope that my friend that I grew up with, if I wanted to joke with him, if we were in person cracking jokes, he might allow that because he knows I fucking love him. Went to his wedding. Did I go to his wedding? No, I went to another friend of ours' wedding, and he was there. Anyway. Sidetrack. Anyway, Fruit Loops, pussies. Oh, people who come here and are afraid because they're afraid of everybody having guns, whereas I'm not that way. I feel safer knowing that everybody's strapped. Everyone's carrying. I feel safe. I'm carrying. You're carrying. That dude's probably got a gun. It keeps people in check. Keeps people in check. When I drive to California and I have to lock my gun up and put my gun away, I feel now I'm because I know the outlaws, the gang, the gang members and the outlaws and the fucking hoodlums and the fucking, the outlaws, they're not fucking locking their guns up. But here in Arizona, even the outlaws are like, oh, because these citizens are armed, we're fucking all carrying. Half these liberal blueberries that came over here from California probably came here so they could buy guns and carry. But they just don't realize like that's the old mentality. Like you move here, you can't, because once you start turning it blue, dude, and the blue agenda, whether or not you're fighting for abortion, but there's more than just that. Abortion's not important, man. The abortion issue is not being pragmatic because it's not a key issue. It's an underlying issue. It's a symptom of the condition. And the condition is that we've lost our values. That's what the condition is. See, and I'm in my growth journey that I'm on now, I have pinpointed what my values are and what is important to me so that I fully understand what they are. Whereas before I was walking around assuming what my values are, maybe being told or influenced what my values could be. But now I've really come into this place where I intentionally understand what and know what my values are. I know what they are. And I can start to go, oh, I see where my values are. I understand being a Christian man. I understand the Christians wanting to save children. And I also understand women wanting to have choice. I understand both. The pragmatist in me believes that the medical privacy is the value, and that's what's of most importance, the value. And the Christian in me says in order to live in a society of peace, which is what Jesus would want, a peaceful, safe society for those to have the ability to choose and live their lives and have a place where they're safe enough to choose God. Because if you're at war all the time, you don't have time to pray. Well, I mean, you do, but you know what I'm saying? You don't have time to worship and all that. So in order to have a safe society, we compromise. That's the pragmatist in me. And medical privacy being one of our core principal values that we believe in, protected under the Constitution, that value is of utmost importance. The value to speak and be yourself is of utmost importance. The value to carry weapons and protect yourself is of utmost importance. Privacy is of utmost importance. Due process is of utmost importance. These are the values we believe in because the men who wrote the Constitution were pragmatists. They were pragmatic. You give people choice, you give people freedom. And you allow those people to choose their path based on their beliefs. And we all believe this. That's why this country's still holding together, because deep down inside of us, we believe in those values of freedom of speech, freedom of choice, and freedom. That's why we're still hanging on. Granted, the folks on the left are leaning towards. That's like so I had a conversation with Mom, and we had a conversation, and Mom was worried that Trump was going to be a dictator and this and that, and that these, the election denier folks. And I was like, listen, Mom, you got to recognize and realize that men like me won't let that happen. I'm not going to let Trump be a dictator. Are you fucking kidding me? That's not the way the Constitution works. And those of us who are oath keepers, oath takers, not those fucking pretend jokers that storm the Capitol, like, no. Hey, no. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand the sentiment of storming the Capitol because that's also a part of who we are. We went to war with Britain so we could be our own nation, a war against a government, a war against, right? And the same thing with the left. They want that same kind of thing. But the basic principle and value that we want is the freedom to choose our own destiny. And that's the thing that we all agree on. See? We agree. Oh no. What do we do when we agree? Gotcha, motherfucker. Freedom. But the conversation with my mom was like, dude, no one's going to let Trump stay in office. The real men and women who believe truly in the system and stand for the system, myself, will stand up and say, no, Trump, you need to step down. You're done. You don't get to be a dictator. And even those nut jobs that follow him, the election denier people, that small percentage of really radical right-wing Republican types that might follow him, once the real crowd steps up, the big boys step up and say, no, you're going to step down, Trump, then those people, oh, he said step down. Oh, shit, we don't want to fuck with him. Then they'll really become the you know what I mean? They'll really be exposed for the cowards that they really are. Because we really, you don't want to fuck with him. That dude doesn't play. That's not me. I'm not saying that's me. I'm saying that, and I'm not going to mention, I don't want to go name dropping who I think might step up and say that ain't the play. But somebody will step up and say, hey, Trump, that ain't the play, homeboy. You're done. You're done. I'll be one of those people. Right? That's like, I'll say it. I don't care. I voted for Trump twice. And again, I voted for Trump the second time because Joe Biden is completely off his rocker. And I also think the Clintons are dangerous. But I also think that there's, again, and that's harsh, or maybe that's somewhat unhealthy, but I think that we have to make a stand against the left because they're taking things too far. The Democrats have been taking things too far, and they've lost their way. And I think we need to kind of, again, set a boundary, and setting boundaries can be difficult. And I also truly believe in my heart of hearts that regardless of what people think about Trump, I think Trump's a red-blooded American. That's what I think. And I also think that when it comes to people like Joe Biden, I think Joe Biden is a globalist. I think Joe Biden is in bed with China. I think half of these globalist fucking rich people are in bed with China. These corporate fucking people who send the money down to people like Biden, and they know Biden's going to play that game. The left is just so caught up in their emotional believing that the right is racist and this. We're not fucking racist. I'm not a racist. I already told you that I'm not. You heard my story. So I'm not a fucking racist. Stereotypical joker, yes, but racist, no. I fucking love all cultures. I love that we live in a melting pot. I served in the military with all cultures. I love that we're a melting pot. Wanting to have a secure border doesn't make me a racist. It makes me a pragmatist. Look that up, pragmatic. Look that up. You might find that you are pragmatic or want to be. Anyway, so you have to understand that people like me aren't going to let Trump fucking become a totalitarian. Not going to happen. I'm not going to let those people who want him to be a dictator either. Right? Right? We're not going to let it happen. It's not going to happen. Just like I won't let the left become the fucking Nazi party, I won't let Trump become a fucking dictator. I won't, and millions of other Americans like me won't let that happen. We're the ones that will stand up to both sides. I will stand up to both sides. You're both wrong. So remember that, folks. Peace. I'm out.
You know what time it is.
Time to stand up and speak your mind. In this elitist jungle, keep the beats alive. Whether yoga or doja that keeps you high. Gotta stay up, cause on the street you die. Time to wake up and see the light. Stop counting sheep, seize your life. Free your eyes and see suns rise on the horizon. Where the street meets the sky.
The masses' ignorance feeds our masters' greed. Open your mind and read some chapters.